All right. Ready for the hip hop trooper?
All right, here we go. Here we go.
There you go.
It's in my first Zoom, mind you.
This is your first Zoom?
My first today. My first today.
Oh, your first today.
Yes.
Not your first ever?
Not my first ever. I popped my Zoom cherry a long time ago, my friend.
Well, then I'm going to say that that's a pretty weird thing to tell somebody. It's like this is my
internet, but we are on the internet.
This is my first drink of water today.
I've yet to have one. I had some juice though.
How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
Yeah.
Yourself?
You know, this is kind of always mixed feelings about these kind of things because they're so much fun, they're exciting, but they're a lot of work, and I have to be on for, be like, hey, how are you? Like for 4 days. So, and at the end of it, then I'm kind of like, but then I go home and then I have like 2 kids screaming at me. So it's, Fato from Thailand said, hello, hip hop trooper.
Fato!
Woo!
You already know I'm a big fan. Fato in the house.
Definitely. So
that guy works hard, man. That guy works hard.
He's the hardest working man in the scene.
I don't know how he does it.
So let's talk about you. How does mild-mannered Strider turn into the hip-hop trooper? How does that happen? How does someone you're just born, you're just like a dude and you're growing up, and then somehow you like become this thing, and then this thing becomes this bigger thing where people know you from this thing, and they don't really know you, but they know of your persona. How does all that happen?
Well, all right, for me, it's kind of like, the hip hop trooper is really just a hyper extension of myself. It's like, we all have that inner superhero. We all want to be someone that we not necessarily are not, but just a bigger version of ourselves, a more confident version, more expressive version, louder version. And that's me, really. It's just kind of like every time I suit up, it's still me, but you get a bigger version of me, because in real life, I'm pretty chill. But once I suit up, all that goes out the window.
I don't know how long I've known you, but you're chill, you're easy to get along with, but you have some energy that I don't, for example. Like you walk into a room and it's like, even when you don't have your suit on, like I don't know, you've kind of sort of like stepped into a persona. So I guess my question is, when did this start? Like how old were you and how did the hip hop trooper develop?
So, okay, going back to England a long time ago, very, very, very long time ago. My birthday last weekend, so I was reminded how long ago that actually was. And so obviously Star Wars figures. And I would pop the heads off my Stormtroopers and replace them with other figures. I was upset. I was so obsessed with Star Wars, I wanted to kind of change these figures. Like I was the first bootlegger back in the day, long before you knew what it was. But obviously there was no internet, there's no photos, there's no proof, so you just have my word. So I literally just mix and match all these figures myself. And I was obsessed with taking Lando Calrissian's head and popping him on Stormtroopers. And so I always liked that element. And then obviously as I got older, then came the, clothing and women and sports and everything else. But I still had this love for Star Wars that was like, it was like planted inside me. But it was just kind of this seed that kind of shrunk in the mud, but was still there waiting to be, nourished and fed. And started to get a little bit of money, started to become an adult, and really started just trying to rewind my childhood and do everything I want to do then, but now, like we all do with the toys and everything like that. And got some Stormtrooper armor. Didn't know, because I didn't know about the 501st. I didn't know about what was good, what was bad. I just wanted some armor. So
What year was what year was that when you got your first?
It's like 11 years ago. Yeah, about
Wow.
11 years ago, 2009. Yeah, because Hip Hop Trooper, the first time I went red was 2010. And so it's 10 years of that. But in 2009, I was all white with blue stripes.
But in 2009, it wasn't easy to get Stormtrooper armor.
No. So I got this set, which was clunky and messy, and I wore it to Dragon Con. And then I saw all the other Stormtroopers. And you know, there's some dicks in the 501st, and they really, you know, they were looking me up and down, like, look at this guy. I felt like, you know, when you, the first kid in school that never had a pencil or, you know, didn't have nice clothes, that was me. And wore it for a little bit, bopped around, went back home, took it all off. Thought about my purchase. And I was like, damn, where did those guys get those suits from? They wasn't as cool as me, but they looked cooler than me.
And you had to do something about that.
Yeah, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back. But I remember looking at a boombox I just got in the corner, and I said, I'm gonna go back and take this boombox back because there was no music at this convention. It was a little bit boring. But even back then, there was no music at any convention. It's not like now, there's music blasting everywhere.
Sure.
But, I just remember I watched all my favorite hip hop films, and then I changed my suit in a rush. Originally, I put graffiti all over it, and then I put it on, looked in the mirror, and I looked like the present that nobody wants for Christmas. This looks shit. Take this off. So I spent like another 2.5 hours getting all these stickers off. And then I decided to pay homage to Run DMC and go with the Adidas or Adidas stripes wherever you are on this planet. But it was blue stripes. I had a clone helmet because I had my Stormtrooper helmet didn't fit correctly and I couldn't see shit out of it. So I didn't want that. So I put on the little toy helmet, went back to the convention, and I remember seeing the other Stormtroopers, but I was getting so much attention that they came to me and started partying with me. It was almost like I got their approval, but they still didn't really approve. But because like a lot of, not all, but a lot of 501st guys, they really nourish and need that attention. And when it's taken away from them, they have two choices: stand in the corner and be miserable, or come join in the fun. So they joined in. It was a whole weekend of going to bed at 5 in the morning, wearing armor for 14 hours. And that's where the Hip Hop Trooper was born, really. And then I spent a year thinking about how much fun I had, and then also learning how to craft better armor, learning how to paint better, and built a Sand Trooper, built a Boba Fett, and then redid Hip Hop Trooper based off everything I did on the other costumes.
And so all the work on your armor you have done yourself, correct?
Yeah, I actually have 4 sets of armor, maybe even 5.
Hey, Janky, can you find do you have a photo of yourself there? Or Janky, can you find a photo of him online and just pop it up for the people who, I don't know. Well, we didn't actually do a proper introduction. So can you just tell people like who you are and how to follow you on Instagram and what you do kind of thing? Yes,
my name is Strider, AKA the one and only. Well, actually, no, there's more of us now, but I am the Hip Hop Trooper. You can find me on the interwebs. Just Google Hip Hop Trooper. You know, save space for some bookmarks because there's a lot of information out there. And all my handles are Hip Hop Trooper. It's so easy. It's so easy. And
so how long have you been in the US?
In this particular life cycle, 14 years.
Wow. And why did you come here? Did it have to do with a Hip Hop Trooper lifestyle, or?
Nah, I actually came here, like, I was back and forth as a kid, but I actually came here on a sports scholarship, basketball, to Louisiana. That was my, like, then I went to New Jersey, and then I went to college, and I was trying to go to LSU. Things didn't work out, went back to England, played basketball throughout Europe. And in 2006, I just remember waking up one day in Oxford, England, and saying, I can be better than this. I kind of ran out of ideas. I did everything I wanted to do, and I was in a position with no children, and I was like, I'm just gonna leave. So I literally, on a Sunday night, called my cousin in Atlanta and said, I might need a couch until I get situated. He said, sure. And then Tuesday, I left England. I didn't tell a soul until I landed in Atlanta. And of course, the family went ape shit. And I said, go in my room. I already listed everything on eBay of value. And I said, sell it all, keep it for yourself. I'm starting again. If it doesn't work, I'll come back home with my tail between my legs. And because I'm a firm believer, more so now than any time, if you really want to do something, it can be scary. Never seek advice from anybody else. Just do it. And if it doesn't work out, you have a story to tell. If it works out, you have a better story to tell. So I didn't tell a soul, because if I had told my mother, she would have told me 1,000 reasons not to leave England. If I told my friends, they would have told me 1,000 reasons, and so forth and so forth. So take my advice. If you want to do something, just do it. And if you fail and it's funny, tell your friends. If it's fail and if you fail and it's not, don't tell no one, but just do it.
So it's interesting, the kind of crossover between, like you said, the customizing of figures and the resin figure scene. And it's interesting that you said that you started out customizing your own figures and then you became this other persona. And so, like, you know, the guy who's credited with being the godfather of this scene is the Sucklord, who also, you know, has a persona and who also makes toys and is inspired by Star Wars. So you told me a funny story once about like your first interaction with him. Can you relay that story?
Oh, Sucklord?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny because I remember, so I didn't know of Sucklord. I didn't know of him or anything. And I remember, this was long after I created the Hip Hop Trooper. I saw a video of him and he was like a Boba Fett, and was it a turntable on his back, I think he had, and it looked cool. It looked cool. And I remember seeing it. Then all of a sudden, I started to get a little bit of fame, so to speak, exposure, a lot more exposure from Hip Hop Trooper. And I started getting these subliminal messages. I don't know if they were coming from the Sucklord himself or one of his many minions. I didn't know where it was coming from. But it was something along the lines of, I did it first.
Did he say this to you outright, like to your face?
No, when I met him, you know, I met him I remember meeting him at your factory.
Yeah.
And he was cool. You know, I mean, he's Sucklord. He's hard to explain. He's just interesting. He was shorter than I expected him to be, but he was, you know what I mean? But he's cool. You know, big up Sucklord. When I saw him last at DesignerCon, I think it was, super cool cat. We shared a couple beers at DesignerCon in Pasadena one time.
So there was no rivalry about like who was the first one to kind of bring hip hop to Star Wars cosplay? No.
And you know what I mean? And if he wants to, I mean, it's like this. It's hard to explain, but like, let me put it like this. Like, it's just like a lot of cosplayers in this world. You know, I no disrespect to the cosplayers. I think they're amazing. I think they're super creative. Their eyes are always open and their ears are always peeled, and they see stuff and they create stuff, and they're always reinventing themselves. Just like Sucklord did. He did something and then now he's this Sucklord of toys and mayhem and stuff like that. When I became the Hip Hop Trooper, it wasn't a gimmick. It wasn't a phase. It was my culture combined with my love for another thing. And I mixed them all together and I became the Hip Hop Trooper. And it's just not a phase. And then people that say you should paint yourself blue, or you should be one of the new Stormtroopers, or why don't you do a hip hop Boba Fett, or why don't you do a hip hop Scooby Doo, or whatever the hell. No, I'm the Hip Hop Trooper. That's it, permanent.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Well, what I can say to his credit is that when I talk to him about his persona, he will say that there's no such thing, and he kind of describes it almost the same way you do. It's like he does pour it on a little bit, but that is, you know, just a version of himself, or you know, how he perceives himself or how he wants himself to be, kind of thing. I think that's interesting about people who, you know, develop, you know, these personas and want to be known as something else, because even you know, you go by the name Strider, right? That was not your given name as a child, was it?
No.
No, and you don't share with people who what your real
My
name
real
is,
name
right?
is Terminator 6000.
Well, and so the same thing that he will say to me, you know, he'll tell me that like Morgan Phillips, like he said, oh, that doesn't name doesn't mean anything to him. That was given to him. He didn't give it to himself. And I assume that that's how you feel about your given name, since even before. So did Strider come about before the Hip Hop Trooper?
Oh, Strider's been around since I was 13.
Since you were 13, got it. So
You
I
wanna hear
won't
the
share.
story?
I won't share with
Story,
anyone
the Strider
what
story.
your real name is, but I know your real name.
My real name is Eugene Brown. You can look me up. You can see all my basketball stuff from back in the day.
Ah, why did you do that?
It doesn't
It
matter.
was so mysterious, and then
I'm
you're
Bruce
like,
Wayne, but without the money. It's okay.
you just gave it away. All right, so then you become like the Hip Hop Trooper, and then things kind of come full circle, because then you become the subject matter of so many toys. I mean, there's so many creators that have made Hip Hop Trooper toys, right? How many toys have there been?
I mean,
It's like
even looking around this room,
it's like you can see them on the wall there. I mean, it's like
like behind me there, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 9 there. I mean, there's probably maybe 40 in this room.
That's kind of insane. Some of them are one of a kind, but others are editions, like multiple editions.
Yeah.
So, and then that brings me to this fine idea that we had over here at DKE, which was, you know, I called Ron English and say, hey, how about we do a red police grin and have a Hip Hop Trooper sign it? And he's like, yeah, that sounds rad. So not only do you get a signed and numbered piece by Ron English, but it says Hip Hop Trooper edition.
Yeah. I remember I signed each one. And let me tell you, I hate signing stuff. It's so boring. And you have to have, I don't know how, you know, Stan Lee, bless his soul, when I saw him at conventions all the time, and he would have his daughter or assistant holding his arm, and he was just doing it for hours and hours and hours.
Right. But
I'll never forget my first Stan Lee moment. I'm at the Comic Cons, LA. I was doing a panel, and they gave me a changing room to get changed. And I went in the changing room, and as I'm getting changed, Stan Lee walks in, and just me and him in a room, 6 by 6 by 6. He sits down in the corner, puts his hands over his head, and he just a big sigh of relief. And I looked across, and I was like, I started to pull out my phone, and I was like, you know what?
I'm going to talk to Stan Lee.
I didn't say a word to him, but that was my Stan Lee moment, and that was all I needed. It was nothing but respect, admiration for that man.
Wow. But the funny thing is, like, so you dress up as a Hip Hop Trooper, you've created this personality, you do this cosplay, but then like I go to conventions and like you have a booth and you're signing autographs for people.
Yeah. And
but you don't like that part of it.
I do, but there's 2 parts of it for me. I don't like the cliche of making money in that way. Like, prime example, you buy my merchandise, thank you so much. Don't buy my merchandise. You want to take a photo of me? Cool. You know, for me, it's not about, if I was trying to get rich off of Hip Hop Trooper, I would have stopped doing it 8 years ago, because it would have been miserable.
Right.
And you know, that's why a lot, myself and a lot of cosplayers, we get into these beefs at conventions, because it's happened at many conventions. People, they get their booth and they go, oh, Hip Hop Trooper's next to me. I want to move. Move me away from him. Because,
why do they?
Oh, especially the girls. Oh, the girls hate it. They hate it. I'm like, at the end of the day, do you understand? If we all, this energy is for everybody. Join me, and you'll sell more prints. You'll have more people at your booth. A lot of the complaints have been like, well, everyone's over at his booth. They're not coming to our booth. Because I make my booth very interactive. The music song. It's like I have the backdrops, you know, come take photos in the backdrops. When I went to Mexico, they made this awesome backdrop for me. And then Mexico was the best though, because people was bringing me merchandise to sign. And guys were showing up with suitcases. Can you sign this helmet? Sure. Can you sign this keychain? Sure. Can you sign this purse? All right, man, what's going on here, man? It's just like, but you know what? It's like, I'm just as excited that you know who I am as it is me being me. You know, I just, I just love the energy, and I just don't like, if I sell pins and prints and figures or whatever, I normally do raffles and stuff. Great. It's nice to make a little bit of money, but I'm not trying to rinse money out of everybody. And I'm not angry if you just come talk to me and don't buy something.
I noticed that, like, when you're walking, I was trying to get you to show up at our booth at San Diego Comic-Con, and you texted me at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and like you're outside or you're like 2 blocks away. And then 2 hours later, you text me, you're like, sorry, dude, like I'm 1 block away. And I'm like, what the fuck? How long does it take to, like, you know? And I can just imagine walking in the middle of Comic-Con, walking in downtown San Diego through the gas lamp, dressed as the hip hop trooper. Like, it literally took you like an hour to get 1 block, right? And then by the end of the day, I don't know what you were doing, but like, it's like 5 o'clock, and you're like, sorry, dude, I couldn't make it to your booth. I'm like, dude, you were 2 blocks away. And it's like, and I've seen it, it's like nonstop. So the autograph thing you don't like, but I just see you stop and take photos with everybody. Like, it seems like there's no, just people just stop you like all the time. Like it.
Yeah, it's hard. And I'll be honest with you. There was probably, I'll say 2018, maybe. No, 2000, maybe 2017. I kind of got burned out with the whole LA scene. And because I was trying to do everything for everyone. And I was putting them before my family, before myself, before my health.
Sure. And
sacrificing everything to show up at every single event I was in. And you know how Hollywood is. I get these bullshit emails, premiere this, premiere that. You got all these Power Rangers that nobody don't know, you know, eating hors d'oeuvres and cocktails, and you want me to show up. So I was doing all this stuff, and I was just, and I would suit up and go to shows, and I would hate it. I would hate the attention, and I would be miserable. But I had to shake that. I had to shake that and remember why I do this, and remember how much fun it is and the positive impact I've had on people. And yeah, it's hard. And 9 times out of 10, I don't have a handler. And I don't like, because normally, you know, I've had friends that have tried to be a handler, and it's fun for about 2 hours, and then they get frustrated, and they get
that's hard work. I mean, that's rough. I mean, the one thing that always, as I see you doing your thing out like in action, I have the same opinion. The same thing comes to my mind is like when I see people wearing leather pants. It's just, I look at you and I just go, wow, like he must have real sweaty balls. Like that's what.
Hey, my balls are sweaty, man.
That's just like when I see people in that gear, it's like it might be 80 degrees out, but it's got to be like 110 in that suit. Like, well, that's crazy.
Well, first of all, I have about 14 sets of really expensive military grade Under Armour. I have different versions for heat, different versions for cold, depending on the weather. I have 2 cooling fans in my thighs that are curved, that shoot up. I have 2 in my back that shoot up to my underarms. And I have 3 helmets in my fan. 3 fans, 2 in the back and 1 directly in the front.
That's crazy.
I don't, honestly, this might sound insane to you. I don't sweat. I really don't. The only thing at the end of the day that might make me feel fatigued is depending on which boombox I bring, because some of my boombox are 60 pounds. So when you're carrying a boombox that's like, even like some of the ones that are like 45 pounds, and you're constantly stopping and you're constantly moving, you're picking it up, you're constantly, and then you get that one douche that's like, put it on your shoulder, dude. And I'm just like, fuck you, man. I've been wearing this shit for 8 hours, man. Put it on your shoulder. As a matter of fact, no. You know, and it's like, it just, that's the only thing that sometimes wear me out. And I'm actually, my MRI results came back because I thought I needed shoulder surgery. My wife blames it on the boomboxes. I told you. I don't know what really, it could be, I don't know what it is, but I'm going to see some physiotherapists next week, but I'm fine. I just can't scratch the back of my head with my left arm. It's been like that for about 6 months now.
Hip Hop Troopers breaking down, man. So
they will rebuild me. They will rebuild me.
He'll be like the cyborg Hip Hop Trooper.
That's
so
right.
What's interesting is the reason Stormtrooper armor and Darth Vader armor was so hard to to come by for so long is because Lucasfilm and now Disney, they didn't want people doing what you do for a living. They didn't want people dressing up as Darth Vader and showing up on Hollywood Boulevard and for fear. I can only assume that, Darth Vader, like, someone hires a Darth Vader for a birthday party and, the dude exposes himself and then, like, to a bunch of kids, and then, there's like lawsuits and they get blamed for that. Nowadays, because it's just, I think they just figured that if they don't start selling it, there's too many other people making money from Stormtrooper armor. And then there was that lawsuit in the UK. They claimed that, I don't know, that's a whole nother thing about who actually owns the Stormtrooper armor and that the guy wasn't paid and blah, blah. Lucasfilm didn't often get involved in litigation. They were kind of litigation phobic, but when it came to that Stormtrooper, like, they fought really. There was a lot at stake there. So, but I guess my question is, what does Lucasfilm or Disney, like, have you had any interaction? Do they care? What do they think of this dude dressed up in a red Stormtrooper outfit, just making a persona and making a little industry around himself? Have you had any interaction? Have they said anything?
You know what? It's kind of similar with Adidas or Adidas, however you want to put it. They know all about me. Adidas are the worst though, because I have a love-hate relationship with them, because they would occasionally send me this little love letter, how much they love me and what can we do for you. But it's like when I ask my wife, when my wife says, what do you want for your birthday? And I give her a list. All denied. Why do you ask me what I want if you can't fulfill not even one of these things? That's my relationship with Adidas. Now, as far as Lucasfilm, Star Wars, Disney, blah, 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 I know they know of me through sources, especially when I lived in Burbank and the offices were right around the corner. I don't know. I think I don't know if they look, but they must like me in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Did you see the McDonald's thing that was released recently? I have one here. Hold on. So, okay, so McDonald's did a Happy Meal with some Star Wars shit in the meal. And the one that everybody wanted in this Happy Meal, and the one that you just couldn't find in hardly any McDonald's, was the red Stormtrooper. And it's this one right here. Look at the pose he's in. Look. There you go. Look. See his pose? Now,
look at that.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I've watched all the Star Wars movies, and I've closed my eyes through half the new ones. I've never seen a Stormtrooper, except me, pose like this. Yeah. So someone at Disney, when they came to McDonald's, decided to do this. They had an image in mind for this red trooper.
I mean, more than likely, it was the artist that was, tasked to create the figures was a fan and decided to model it after you, and it got by. It doesn't necessarily mean the people on high were like, dude, we're gonna like rip off the hip hop trooper. I think there was someone in there who's a fan who's paying homage, to
And you know what? I think it's cool, and people always say to me, like, even with the new movies and the Sith Troopers and all that other stuff. And when the Sith Trooper was first like exposed, my social media exploded. From everything from they're ripping you off to congratulations, you're finally in the movie. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Right. And to me, the fact that this world around me exists, it's the only royalties I need. Like, sure. I'm fine with that. Like, I remember I went to a convention in Kentucky, and as soon as I walked through the front door, I went to buy a pass, and the guy at the desk said, "No, we can't charge you. Congratulations, you're in the new Star Wars movie. We can't charge you." And I was like, "What?" I was like, "Okay," and just walked in. I was like, "Wow, I look nothing like the Sith Troopers. If that's the case, there's a fire hydrant down the street. That's me too."
Well, you know you've made it now. You can like get into conventions for free. So even when you're doing events, like you post on your Instagram, like you're in a basketball stadium, like I mean, there's like tens of thousands of people like watching you, like at halftime perform on the sidelines or on the court or whatever, like that. And Lucasfilm, Disney, nothing.
No, I think the last big one I did was the only thing I've ever done that Lucasfilm I know they had a problem with
Mhm.
is when I did the Boba Fett short film. I don't know if you saw that trailer that was shot in a studio, and so I it took like 6 hours, man. There was rebels flying all over the place and stormtroopers, and I walk out, and this video was so convincing that
Mhm.
Disney took it down from YouTube because
It was
fans,
convincing in how well it was done.
yeah, they were going
Yeah.
ape. I recently reposted it and said it was a Mandalorian sneak peek season 2. It yet again. Everyone's trying to dissect it and shit like, no, it can't be. He's wearing Empire Strikes Back armor, and all the like nerds went crazy on it, started dissecting everything. But that's the only time I know of Disney Lucasfilm having a problem with something that I was a part of. And there's a lot of companies that contact me to do stuff,
Mhm.
and they kind of get excited and then they kind of pull out because of the possibility of Lucasfilm getting involved.
Mhm.
And I remember New York Comic Con actually when Tenacious Toys did the Hip Hop Trooper figure,
Mhm.
and they had lines all around their booth. Lucasfilm came over and shut them down for selling the figure, and then they just sold the rest online anyway, and they sold out.
Mhm. And
So if you,
what was their reasoning for shutting it down?
I don't know. I just remember the guy from Tenacious Toys. I forgot his name now. He got so excited.
Benny.
Yeah, he hit me up and he was like, "Man, you couldn't believe this, man. Lucasfilm came over and they got mad and da da da." He was excited though, and then he sold them all online, like super easy. But nah, and I think I don't know the reason about being. Maybe it's because I'm just having fun, but at the same time, I'm trying to spread positive messages, and I'm not like I don't know, because I see people getting shut down for T-shirts, and I see people getting shut down for all kind of
That's
stuff.
that's different. I mean, if you're using their intellectual property to print stuff over and over again, I mean,
Yeah.
that's not okay. But I mean, the stuff that we're doing is art or limited edition, and it's not masquerading as you know, legitimate merchandise. You know, it's not, even though it's called bootlegging, it's not actually like a pirated toy.
Mm.
You know, it's a higher end piece of art. It's like you are you expressing yourself. I mean, the only thing they could do is have some problem with some of your merch, like t-shirts and stuff like that. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably, I think I can't say. No one has told me officially. Although I did talk to someone who worked at Lucasfilm at DCon last year, and she came by the booth and she was checking out the Sucklord, and I just asked her, I'm like, so what is the opinion internally of all of this? I said, not officially, like I won't quote you, I'm quoting, I'm not saying her name, but anyway. And she said that, they recognize this as an art form, and
Mhm.
as the thing that people are into. And, with Steve Sansweet, if anyone caught his interview, he talked about how early on, Lucasfilm was going after customizers, people who were just mashing up their own figures and just painting characters that didn't exist, and they would actually go after those people. I think, after that McDonald's, if you ever watched that documentary about the McDonald's lawsuit, it's McLibel, I think, in the
Oh
UK.
yeah, the Monopoly. Is that
Yeah,
one?
no, not Monopoly. It was in the UK. It was called McLibel, I think. And what happened is this guy was just talking about all this stuff. He was just saying all this bad shit about McDonald's and about the food and how unhealthy it was. And they sued him. And the laws in the UK are slightly different than here in the US. He would have probably gotten away with what he was saying in the US, and he lost the lawsuit. But in the end, in the court of public opinion, McDonald's lost. And I think what happens is a lot of these companies realize that if they start attacking people who are popular, it's just much better to let people say that McDonald's is not healthy for you, and then they go away. As soon as you sue them, you give them a spotlight, and all the news are at this dude's door every day, and then every day it's just pumped into people like, this is bad for you, this is bad for you, this is bad for you. So even though they won the case, they kind of lost. And I think if Disney were to go after the hip hop trooper, that'd be rough. You know what I mean? It's like, it just would not.
Bring it, Mouse. Bring it. Ready for it.
You know, that's what the Sucklord always says. He's just said, you know, can you imagine the headline, like, you know, Disney sues over gay empire trooper, you know, gay empire figure. Like, how does that's not going to work.
I'll tell you one quick story, which is kind of narrows this sort down. So, what was it? 5 years ago, I did a music video with the Black Eyed Peas, and they hit me up. I thought it was fake at first. So I showed up to the studio in LA, and then I'm in this room with all these models, and like I suit up, and all these women come to me and like, "Are you excited? This is the first big Black Eyed Peas video, da da da." And I was like, "Yeah." And then they was like, "But are you upset that you're not showing your face?" I'm like, "Bitch, this is my face."
That's right.
Then Will.i.am comes in, and he's just going nuts, like examining all my stuff. And then Taboo comes in and says, I knew he would show up, and they're just losing their shit. So this video was crazy. There was zebras in the video, there was gorillas in the video. I kid you not, there was dudes in giant robotic suits. And they had this whole studio, and West Coast Customs showed up with all these cars. And I never forget, then these guys showed up with the original Tron helmets from the Disney Tron movie.
Sure.
And they were in a couple of scenes, but not many. There was one scene, Will.i.am and Taboo was wearing those, and I was in the middle with them, like dancing and stuff. And then the screen went black, and then we were in this other room, and the video never came out. And I was bummed, because this was huge. Like, I was on set for 17 hours for this video. And months and months went by, and I was in a club in LA, and I bumped into one of the producers that worked on the video. And I was like, "What happened to the video?" And he was like, "Well, Disney got upset about copyright rules and stuff." And I was like, "Really?" And it was all about the Tron helmets. It was nothing to do with me. Even though I was in the video, and I was like one of the biggest characters in the video.
But you're different enough that, you know, a red trooper with stripes and the chain, like it's like a different persona. You don't look at it and think like, oh, like that's a Disney character. Like that's
right. Even myself, like, I'll be honest with you, I don't even recognize myself as a Stormtrooper anymore. I see a Stormtrooper, that's a Stormtrooper. I see me, that's me. Because when I first came out, I was the hip hop Stormtrooper. And Adidas started like giving me hype. So I said, I'm the Adidas Trooper, because everybody started calling me that.
Right.
Now I hate it when people call me that. Adidas. No, I'm not. And then I went back and I changed, like 7 years ago, I just made myself hip hop Trooper. That was it. Then I did the thing with Champion. We have a relationship, so that's why I have the Champion suit, which is a real good.
So the Adidas thing is over now. Is Champion are you officially sponsored by Champion now?
I wouldn't say officially sponsored, but okay, if I go to champion.com right now and I see some hoodies and some tracksuits and some shoes, I can send an email and I have those things on my doorstep in 2 days.
Nice. So that's a sponsorship.
I can't even get 10% off, even if I sign up. You know what I mean?
Right. But I'm saying that is a sponsorship in a way. They probably are also afraid of Lucasfilm, because if they said that you were sponsored, then that's when it starts to look like they are using you to advertise their brand, and then that's when Disney comes calling and wants some money. They want their pound of flesh.
I haven't wore the Champion suit at the minute. Like, I normally do like exclusive events for Champion. I was supposed to do like Art Basel this year, and I DJ'd at Complex Con, the last big one, as Hip Hop Trooper with Champion. I did a lot of their shows and events, and it's nice because they really take care of me. They fly me out, they put me in nice hotels, they take care of me, they pick me up. But it's not like a sponsorship deal. Like, I remember they told me, I was like, look, we really like you. We like what you do, and we want to support you. We like the energy you have, anything we can do, let us know. And can we book you for shows and events? That's pretty much how it goes. And I remember I was like, I need some red shoes. And the CEO of Champion hit me up and said, hey, I got someone in Europe making you these shoes. And they sent me custom shoes. And that I thought they were going to release them to the public, but they didn't. But I got a couple pairs of red Champion hip hop trooper shoes that nobody owns, that you can't even buy.
Wow. That's pretty
And
badass.
it's not much different. To be honest with you, the Champion suit, the only difference is in my arms and my legs and my shoes.
But it has a Champion logo. It doesn't.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Put a Champion logo.
Sure.
And like, look, actually, I have it here. So if you look at these two. Here's the OG Hip Hop Trooper helmet. Here's the Champion Edition helmet. So he has a little Champion there. But really, it's, you know, I got the gold lens, the blue lens. You know, that's the difference in the two. The helmets have the most difference, but the suit is pretty much the same suit, really. When I put it on, I can't tell the difference. But I will say, when I made the Champion one, I made it a little sexier. It's a little bit more fitted, which doesn't work in my favor when you're carrying boomboxes, because I don't have much room to kind of wiggle around in it.
First world problems, man.
Yeah.
So tell me, is this a full-time gig? I mean, do you make a living at this? You have other things that you do to survive, or is like Hip Hop Trooper, like, can you sustain on being a hip hop trooper?
I would say this. So obviously I've been bartending now for probably 17 years. Mm-hmm. I bartend, I do shows and events bartending. I bartend here in Nashville at the Opryland Hotel, which is now kind of, actually I'll go back to work tomorrow. First time back at work in 6 months. Wow. See how that shit goes. I'm like, I'm so tempted to just like drive to work and not cut the AC on. So when they give the temperature check, they'd be like, oh, sorry, Scotty, you can't work. I'm so sorry. Hope I ain't got the Rona. I'm just gonna go home, have a cup of tea. But I would say, like, Strider the bartender buys the movie tickets. Mm-hmm. He puts the gas in the car to get us to the movies. He buys the movie tickets.
Right.
The Hip Hop Trooper buys the popcorn.
Got it.
That's pretty much how it goes financially. And like I said, if I did this purely financially, I would have stopped doing it 8 years ago.
Sure. So you're having a good time with it. That's good.
And doors open for me. I take advantage of that. One thing I always do is I leave the door open for the next person. I never close the door behind me, because there's always someone else creative that I'm like, come on in. You can get a piece of this too. Everybody jump in. That's why I'm always willing to work with artists. Whether you're super talented and world famous like Ron English, or just a little guy down the street that wants to paint 9 or 10 figures, I'm happy to work with everybody. You're gonna put my face on something. I mean, it's insane, you know.
It's awesome. So, and the last question before we go here. So, what does the future hold for the Hip Hop Trooper? You're gonna be 60 years old, like walking around in red armor?
Maybe.
Ian just said with a red walker, you'd be like, eh.
I mean, you know what? I will. For me, it's kind of like, I don't know. You know, I mean, like I said, I'm recognizable, and there's a lot of people over the world that are like, quote unquote, cosplaying as me, which I think is crazy. Oh, there's like, I know of about at least 40. Everywhere from Brazil to Germany. 40 cosplayers that are cosplaying as, man, you should start demanding like some licensing fees. Like, you know, what happens is, though, a lot of the time it's kind of one-offs for them. They want to wear it for a couple shows, and then they move on to something else, you know. Because they're Batman the next week. Yeah, and which is cool. But I always, every time people do it, I repost them. I give them. The only time I don't repost them or shout them out is when they do it in a negative way. Like, I know that there were some kids in Russia that made some hip hop troopers. This was about 7 years ago, and they had guns and they had girls twerking. They were like, "Look at me, I'm gangster." Yeah. I was like, nah, man. That's not what I represent. That's why you never see, and you will never see, Hip Hop Trooper holding a blaster or any type. The boombox is my blaster. That's it.
Do you hold on one second? Hey, do you guys want to just hop on the Zoom?
Yeah, we'll hop on the Zoom. They'll recognize them.
Can you do that?
Yeah, just
I'm gonna hang up on this FaceTime.
Okay.
So we have a little one here that wants to be said happy birthday to, little Xavier here. It's his birthday.
Oh, wow.
And he has his dream of the hip hop trooper saying happy birthday. So he'll be on here in just a second.
I gotta put my helmet on for little Xavier then.
Oh shit. Here we go.
Let me turn the volume up. My fans are kind of loud. There you go.
Hey, hey.
There's Xavier.
What's up, Xavier? How we doing? I heard it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Good to see you all. Haven't seen you all in so long. I still have all the things you made for me, the drawings and stuff that you gave me at conventions. I still have them all.
Oh, I remember that drawing that I drew
Yeah,
at
you
the
made-
hotel.
Tell them what you got for your birthday today.
What did you get for your birthday? What did we just get for you?
A hip hop trooper figure.
What? Wow. Awesome.
Cool. Very cool.
Yes. You want to keep hold of that. Do not sell it to Dove because he will keep hold of it, okay?
Wow.
He made his day with the heads coming off the figures, because that's what he does.
Yes. Yes. Do me a favor. Send me your address again on Instagram. I got something special I want to send for you.
Say we will.
Yeah, I got something for you. I'm going to put it in the post for you Monday. As a birthday gift for me, to you.
Hey,
Aw,
thank you.
thank you,
Thanks,
Hip Hop
Dove.
Trooper.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Happy birthday, Xavier. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. I can't tell if Xavier was like, this was the happiest moment of his life, or he was just scared shitless.
I
All
know,
right, dude.
man. I know they used to run to me all the time. They're great.
All the time. No, they're huge fans. Dude, thank you so much for your time. It's really been a pleasure. Great talking to you, getting some insight here, and we love what you do.
All right,
And,
man. Much love. Hey, do me a favor. I know you're busy, but since you have that figure in hand, can
Yes.
you just, with your phone, just do a 10-second video, send it to me so I can repost it? Because I've noticed if I repost the same photo over and over again, the algorithm demons tend to get in the way. But if I do
Okay.
a video, then I can put it on all my socials.
Sounds
So-
good. I'll send you a video right now.
Yeah, just send me a quick little.
Do you want a video of you here, because you're on the screen there?
Oh, this
see
man.
If this is Will just texted, he said, I'm dad of the year.
Man, that's right.
All right, so there you are in the background. Okay, video and go.
Hip Hop Troopers in the house. New figure. Myself, Hip Hop Trooper, the one and only Ron English. Available now. Now, DKE Toys. Make sure you get one. They will sell fast. And when they sell, they will sell for crazy money on the black market. So get one now when it's hot.
Awesome. All right, I will email this to you right now.
You think about
Thank you,
doing,
sir.
Think about doing my shirt off and making it sell more?
Maybe another time. All right, dude. Thank you again. If anybody's watching, these are available in the store right now. The Hip Hop Trooper edition, signed by Mr. Hip Hop Trooper here, and it's got his. If you have any of his older toys, this is customized to look like the newer one with the gold accents and
Yeah.
the newer helmet there.
Goldland.
Because I sent him a photo of it as it was progressing, and he's like, no, details are wrong. I can't do the British accent, but it was like, and then afterwards he was like 10 out of 10. So it's
My thing is like, obviously I have a lot of figures, a lot of work, but the new gold lens,
Mhm.
there isn't a figure out with the gold lens yet. So you got to be the first to have the gold lens.
You heard it here first, boys and girls. All right, thank you again. I really appreciate the time. Talk to you soon. See, I thought like his name Eugene was a secret.